our special guest is, for me, an amazing human being, because not only he is good in what he do, but he really step up. He really, brought that level to a different. He's amazing, guys. Why? Why? For our listeners and viewers out there, guys, he worked with brands such as Google, Adobe, Emirates, Converse, Coca-Cola, and Red Bull, a lot more. But he decided to move away. And I'm excited to know what was the thought process behind that. He decided to say goodbye to the freelance life so he could focus more on his core, his projects, himself as a brand, and teaching on YouTube. Now, I mentioned YouTube, guys. I told him about this, and he was like, he's used to it. He was like, nothing, no big deal, brother. 28 million views on YouTube. Guys, our special guest is teaching online with that view count as of now, 28 million. Wow. He is a professional designer with 10 years plus experience. 577,000 YouTube subscriber, guys. We're in the presence of royalty. Let's all welcome, very humble, I love the aura, I love the smile. He's just an amazing human being. Let's all welcome Ben Marriott. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jan. That is one hell of an introduction. Thank you very much. I'm very flattered and I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited.
Love that. I raised the bar, bro.
You have. This is by far the most hype introduction I've ever had, and I love it.
No, but I mentioned this off cam, and I'm gonna say it again, bro. Ben, thank you. I know you're a very busy person. You are an entrepreneur, time difference and everything, but you've spent time to be with us here in the show. So thank you so much, brother. The mere fact that you exchange, because guys, for all the listeners and viewers out there, we were exchanging messages, and I have no idea that he would reply to my message, because again, we are in the presence of royalty. 500,000 subscribers, 100,000 on Instagram, 28 million viewers. I mean, I'm a speck, but nothing like that happened. He reached out. He's an amazing human being, again, with that word, because he is. So Ben, again, from the bottom of my heart and my team, thank you so much for being with us here in the show.
You're so welcome. I'm honored. Thank you very much.
All right. So I know about your journey, but the details that I mentioned in the intro was in your website. It's really there, and it's an I know you, I feel you, and I understand the concept behind the context where that came from, because I'm an artist as well. But for all the listeners and viewers out there, they were like, what did you just said? He walked away from working with those big brands to focus on what? So, bro, I wanna know more about an overview of your journey. Why you do what you do as a brand, as a person. Who influenced you, or what influenced you to be in this position you are right now? This position of greatness. The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, I think first I should explain a little bit what I do, because I'm a motion designer, and that's what I mentioned that to people. Like, the next question is, what does that mean? And then it's animation and like Pixar, and it's like, well, not quite. So motion design, or like motion graphics. Some people may be familiar with some aspects of it. It's essentially where graphic design, animation, illustration, and like computer generated imagery, VFX, where they all meet, where they live together. So the main application of that is like commercial animation. If you see an animation for a brand that's animated but doesn't look like a cartoon, that's motion design. But it also so the graphic design graphic design animated, illustrations animated, but also things like how your UI, your user interface on your phone on an app, like when a button expands and contracts to let you know you've selected something. It's those little details. What's something that's designed to animate to an experience. Now, there's within that field, there's lots and lots of things like UI and visual effects and all of those things. My little niche that I do is sort of 2D illustrative motion design. So it's more graphic design and illustration that's been animated, and then I
Those
teach that
works are on your Instagram, right? Like clips of it, right?
Yes, yeah, you'll be able to see anything like that on my Instagram. And yes, and before I started, teaching that on YouTube, because that's essentially what I do now, is I teach people how to do that on YouTube, and I sell online courses as well. So that's my main business. But before that, I was doing, I was a freelancer, and before that, working at working with studios. That's where I get to work with a lot of the big brands. That's
earning a lot of money, eh?
Yeah, and all right, it's a decent living. Like, what I really love motion design for is I really think it's for people that are creatively minded and interested in like graphic design and illustration, because that was my main background. I studied graphic design at uni, and then I thought, nah, graphic design, it's a lot of moving rectangles and type about. I want to do illustration. I want to draw cool things.
Designers are gonna what is he saying?
No, they'll agree. There's a lot of drawing rectangles and square boxes.
I'm with you with that.
Not that that's not like, hey, I wish
important.
I had the attention span to stick to an art like that.
Right.
But I feel that I got to not bored. Like I always, with my mind, I want to jump around like, no, I want to try this as well, and try that and try that. And then motion design happened to be where they all, I can use a little bit of everything there. But I really think it's one of the, it's a really fast growing industry, certainly as I've been going in there. And like for people that are into, I was trying to be a freelance illustrator before I learned motion design. And it's very hard. It's a really competitive market because there's so many people with amazing illustration skills. And there's very few people that are getting paid like a good amount to do it for themselves. But motion design is a little bit more of a trade. There are fewer people that know how to animate, and it's a very applicable. A brand can say, we have this, we need you to animate something. So it's a much easier exchange of value rather than we want you to draw this picture. The artist think, well, I've trained my whole life for this. It's very valuable, but it's harder for the brand to see that and think, I don't know about my cousin has Photoshop. I don't know if I want to pay you this amount for, and that being sort of more of a trade that kind of gets handed between an agency and a studio. Like a brand will hire a studio, the studio will hire me. So you're not so much, if you don't want to be, you don't have to be in that equation, chasing clients and putting yourself out there, which is what I struggled with. So I thought, if I get good at this thing, then I won't need to be as brave and put myself out there as much, which is the opposite of what I'm doing now.
Why walk away with, certainly, I mean, you've said it yourself that there's it is a niche based, you're in the core, man. The supply and demand, you're in the core. They need you. Like what you've said, there's a scarcity when it comes to what you do. And I agree. I've seen people who like 10 graphic artists to do this, but to animate that, there's only like 2 or 1. If you're in that, you're in that space and you're working with like known brands, why walk away?
Well, it was the end of my first year of freelancing. So working with studios, I had a bit of, the job security. I was on a salary, and I go to work, put in my time, and then leave. And then I was tempted, like, well, the freelance life. I heard, essentially we had a freelancer come in to the studio because we did a big project, and we need an extra animator in. And then I happened to learn that what their day rate was, and it was like, it's only a week's wage for me and everyone else on the salary. I'm like, no, that's the idea. You come in like a cowboy, like this mercenary that's come in, gets paid big dollars. They come in, they don't have to deal with any of the issues at the front, and they leave and don't have to deal with any of the back end. So that sounds like a great life. And and it's actually a book I've got at the back here, The Freelance Manifesto by Joey Corriman, who's a big influence to me. I read that book, and it essentially broke down a little bit of the technical aspects of how to find clients. And to me, that was like, if I follow this, I can find clients. Because that was the bit that I struggled with. I thought I was pretty confident in my work, And I was pretty confident once I got the clients, I'd be able to deliver to them. But I was very nervous, very anxious, very shy, and did like, I don't, showing your work and saying, hey, this is good enough for you to pay me for. It's like, that's a big step.
Right.
So, but this kind of gave me a bit of a formula, a little bit of an insight to how to do that without, you know, it being a bigger an issue as I was making it in my head.
Right.
And then like that sort of gave me the confidence to think, well, you know what, I'm going to try going freelance and see how this goes. And then at the end of my first year of freelancing, it went really well. And I was pretty much booked almost like pretty consistently. Like most weeks I was booked. So I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And from here, there's a, you know, an obvious ceiling of how much time I can spend working on my business and making stuff. So I think, well, the only way to, you know, earn more money would be to like increase my day rate. And there's only a limit that someone can possibly pay for that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, what I can do in order to, you know, because really what I wanted was to work on the more interesting projects, more cool projects that weren't as you know, as corporate. Because like all of the jobs, there's lots of big brands there, but very few of those big brands are on my portfolio, because that's sort of behind the scenes stuff that's not as interesting and sexy as you imagine. So you know, some of them are. There's some, the Coca-Cola one, Emirates ones, Google, those ones are really good. Converse one was very old. I'm trying to think of all the ones you mentioned. Some of them are
Red Bull. How about Red Bull?
Oh yeah, no, you won't find that on there. That was for
I was expecting, I mean, Red Bull, because they're operating in, you know, extreme sports, you know, non you know, unorthodox product. But then, wow, that's surprising that it bores you.
Oh no, it wasn't so it was just a not as exciting. It was for a promotion they did for a video game conference in Australia. They had a Street Fighter edition Red Bull. So I was animating Hadoukens onto a can.
Really?
So,
dude,
yeah.
That's what? Street Fighter. I mean, I grew up playing that on Super Nintendo. I mean, how cool is that? But yeah, kidding aside, I do get your point. Dude, were you scared, bro, moving away from that and towards embracing, like, you know, for all the listeners and viewers out there, Ben here is focusing on, yes, himself as a brand and teaching online. Was it a scary feeling for you? Was there ever a moment that you were like, man, this is scary. I did the jump and I'm not sure if this will work?
The jump into YouTube wasn't that scary, because it was at the end of that first year I figured, well, what can I do to kind of get the jobs I want? I figured the best way to scale those kind of things, to do a more interesting job, is to find more people that see my work. And I figured, and grow an audience that way. Even though I'm not exactly sure what I want to do in 10 years, if I have, you know, a larger audience, maybe what I want to do might be easier. So I started the YouTube channel, but I did it at the same time freelancing. So I kind of treated it as, this is my personal project that I'm going to work on this year. So when I have downtime in between jobs, I'm going to make videos. And I suppose I didn't really intend for this to happen, but what kind of happened was, as the YouTube started taking off, I just could kind of taper off taking freelance gigs. And then at one point, it was November 2019 was my last freelance job. And then it wasn't like I'm finished freelancing forever. It was kind of, I'm probably not going to say yes to a job again unless it's really worth it. So yeah, it was just slowly tapering one off as the other one increased.
Love that. Another follow-up question, bro, on that. Why the desire to teach? I mean, there's a lot of designers out there that they don't want to teach what they have, because, you know, they see people that are learning as a potential competitor. So a person like you, which I believe you are, and I know in my heart that you are an expert, and you're sharing your knowledge, bro. What's happening? Why the passion to teach?
Wow. Initially, like the passion to like teach, to like share all that information, to be a teacher, that's something I've kind of grown into enjoying. Like I never thought of myself as a teacher. It was kind of when I'd post things on Instagram, like, here's an animation I made.
Mm.
And then I would post, hey, here's a little breakdown. Here's a 1 minute of how I did it, a little behind the scenes.
Right.
That would always get 5-10 times as many views.
Yeah.
And I like,
I
people are more
agree.
interested in that. And I'm more interested in that, because when I see a cool animation, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But like, there's a bigger barrier between you and the artwork. Like, that looks great. I don't know how they did that. But when someone shows a breakdown, it's like, those are the tools I use. I could like, it makes you think, oh, I could do that. They just did something a little bit different that I wasn't thinking about, or applied something new. And especially with animation in After Effects, which is the software that I primarily teach how to use, like, there's a real simple core to most of it. It's mainly the motion of the position, scale, rotation, and the shape path.
Right. Wow.
If you know those 4 things, you can pretty much make anything if you put your mind to it. There might be easier ways, and there's some tricky ways and stuff like that. But it's same thing, like like on the piano, there's however many notes. You can write any sort of music, as long as it's just putting them in the right sequence is the tricky thing.
Love that.
So my initial idea was to just think, I got a lot of requests for a particular type of like animated grain I was using. So this is really niche. So a type of shading that isn't just a gradient. It goes from, black to white, but in between is these little dots and speckles of like noise and grit. And it's kind of textured. And that's what the kind of work that I was doing. And not like there's a lot of people doing it. It was a pretty popular style, but that was what I was kind of known for. And I worked up a secret recipe that because it took me ages to figure out, how do I do this? I've been seeing other people make it, like the top studios that do amazing work. I'm like, how do they do that grain? And I figured out a pretty close way. And lots of people ask me, how do I do it? I figured I can share this because I don't see any resource on there online breaking this down. So that was the first video I ever did, and it got a very good response. And then like my initial plan was to just release, 1 video a week. So I did have a big plan. It wasn't just I released a video and like, oh, that went well, I'll do some more. I did have a plan to like, okay, I'm gonna give YouTube a good hard crack, as we say here, and do 1 video a week. And then after the response to the first one, it got me so excited. The response was so positive, way more than I expected.
Do you still remember the hits that you made from that video?
I remember the views coming up, like, this is amazing, it's got this many views, and they kept going up. Like, that video still is one of my more successful ones. And partly I imagine is the curiosity of people going, what was the first video he did? All
the listeners and viewers that are tuning into this episode, they're gonna be, what is he talking? Which episode is that?
Yes.
Wow, I love that, Ben. And it's an addition that I respect you, because I love that you have a secret sauce, but instead of keeping it, your mindset is to share it, because you want. I love what you mentioned, that there's no resource for people, your tribe around you, to learn about it, and you have discovered a way. It may not be the same thing, but it's like what you've said, similar, closer, and your initial response is to share it out. I love that. And I believe that's the reason why you're successful now. It's because your intention is always to help out and, bring the positivity in people around you, maybe in design and beyond. So I love that. Having said about you teaching and YouTube, I know our viewers and listeners are very excited, because I am really excited to learn from the master. Bro, with your expertise and your perspective, let's talk about design tips on how to make an impact on social media and beyond. With your expertise, with your journey, what tips can you share, not only on social media, but if you're a content creator, like what we talked about earlier, in business and beyond, how to make an impact in the design that you made? The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Well, I think like the most important thing that I think really helped me starting, especially on YouTube, is that really I learned from watching lots of videos that to succeed on YouTube, and really I think in any social media, you need to like offer, there's 3 things that people want to see in your feed. Like, people are busy. There's literally like almost infinite amount of content they could be watching that's not yours. And typically if people don't know who you are, they don't really care about you, and that's understandable. Like, so you need to like really offer them something. You need to make it worth their while, and you can. There was three methods. That's either with education, entertainment, or inspiration. Now, a lot of that's pretty tricky. It's inspiration and entertainment. They're particularly tricky and a lot more subjective. So I figured, hey, if I can teach someone something that no one, not that no one saw them before, but like they can definitely say, I watched this video and at the end I learned something, and then can't deny that. I can't take that away from them. People are going to disagree whether it's entertaining or inspirational, obviously. So I thought I want to try to educate people in this format. So I think just really make the content valuable. A lot of time I see people, and I get caught up into the rat race as well, of like, I just need to put something out there to be active on social, and it just ends up being empty and not that interesting. And like, what's the point of people looking at it? Because people, I understand that there's certainly value in being, top of mind, of like being, oh, they know you exist. Oh, good. They remember him. But for really trying to grow an audience and have more impact, I think you really need to, offer something that is more than, doesn't have to be maybe more than they're already getting, but, something that's valuable to them. And particularly in my industry, like animation, because it's a pretty new industry, almost everyone learnt what they did from YouTube. So like everyone in the industry kind of goes there. It's not like learning an instrument, learning a guitar. You can learn guitar online. You can learn guitar from an instructor, from a school. Motion design was still pretty new and fresh. Now they have university courses for it. But before then, there was a couple of YouTube channels. There was Andrew Kramer, Evan Abrams, Jake Bartlett. There was a couple of people on YouTube that were doing it, but there wasn't that many. It wasn't as broad. So I got lucky that, there was a funnel. So like, if I make content on there, eventually people interested in seeing it will see it. So I think, just making sure it's valuable and not just you out there in order to be on someone's feed, just so you get yourself on their feed. Because I don't think that's, even if they see you a lot, that's not going to make them particularly want to see you again.
I agree. I mean, especially in today's generation, I think the battle between value, but you're releasing less, against you're making noise based on quantity, right? The momentum, and it's not bad, but because platforms like, YouTube Shorts, their press releases, you create a lot, you post a lot, you interact a lot, therefore you're gonna grow. So that impact for creators, okay, let's make tons of content that could really hit that algorithm, so therefore we can grow. But I love what you said, that yes, that's an option, but as a creator, if your intention is to really change people's lives by design, you should really work on something valuable, so that when you share, not only will it gain engagement online, but it could really benefit people around you and change their life. Could be business and beyond, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's hard to find that balance. Like, obviously, more is better. If you can make high quality stuff and pump it out 4 posts a day, do it. Great, wonderful. But I think it's finding a balance between make something good and then make as much of that as you possibly can. It doesn't need to be perfect. It'll never be perfect. But it should at least be valuable and not just, flooding up people's feeds. I think.
Love that. Ben, I have a follow-up question, because you're a successful content creator on YouTube, well, and also on Instagram, but let's focus on your YouTube content. What's the secret? I mean, non-technical, what's your secret sauce that makes your content on YouTube really click hits? And I mean, let's value aside. Let's put value aside, because clearly it is valuable. Guys, for all the listeners and viewers, each content that Ben produce will really help you in your journey towards design or something similar connected to that context. But let's put that aside. What's the secret sauce of Ben Marriott in creating powerful content on YouTube?
Okay, so there's a few things. One of them, which I think made me stand out in the in my niche of teaching animation and specifically motion design, is that because I came from a pretty strong design background before I went into animation. So coming from that way, I think it's a lot easier because it means you have the fundamentals, the understanding of how to make something look good, the structure, the composition, versus in animation, if you can learn animation first, it's a lot harder to then learn composition and all of those hierarchy and layout, because like if something's designed really well and it moves a little bit, it still looks great. But if something looks crap, but is animated really well, it still doesn't look very good. So I think because mine was so design focused, especially at the start, people could see, my plan was to make videos that showed people how to make content that looked like the big studios are making. Because that's what I wanted to make animation. All through my career, I was like, oh, I want to make animations that look like Buck, Giant Ant, Oddfellows, who are the big studios. And like, I want to make content that looks like that. And I try to figure out how they did that grain shading. And then I think when I shared that, people could say, oh, stuff that looks reasonably high end, it isn't that high. It's still the same shape layers and basic motions that everything that they can do, and hopefully trying to essentially bridge that gap, show that, hey, you can do this too. It's not that hard. And that's my philosophy in presenting things. It's like, it's just simple things, moving it around. You can do it. Anyone can do this. It's tricky. It takes a bit of practice to get certain things right, but it's not that. I mean, you're man at a mouse and a keyboard with all the resources you need in YouTube. It's you don't have to be born 6'7" to be able to play in the NBA or anything like that. It's pretty approachable. That's how I try to make it. And then there's all the other aspects of the succeeding on YouTube is trying to fit in with their algorithm and play those games, which you do have to do in order for something to get successful. And I've kind of changed my approach recently. Like I've gone to fewer videos. I upload once every 2 weeks now. Occasionally a little longer, but it's once every 2 weeks.
That's really against what the platform is pushing, right? Like they want more. What they want more and like daily if the creator can, but your technique is like once every 2 weeks. Wow.
Yes, so like daily is obviously great. Like for certain niches, like people are doing streaming, gaming, and news and things like that, it's perfect because you've got an audience like that. But most people in my audience, if you're a motion designer, you're typically not learning, like going down for a big educational session every day. Right. So I think the people that would come back daily for that content is smaller than in other niches, but also I've really approached it from the Pareto principle. I'm sure you're familiar with the 80-20 principle, where that 20% of your output, 20% of your efforts gives you 80% of your output, something like that. It's an asymmetric relationship between the effort you put in and the effort that you come out. And you mentioned, however many millions of views I have on YouTube, 80% of them come from about 5 videos. So my, because like most of my videos get around, 50 to 150,000 views typically over, a few months. But the highest viewed ones have over 1 million. So my instinct now is like, well, I don't want to make the videos that get like 30K views. And obviously this is still a lot of views. And back when I was like, this is so many views, but you keep doing videos that don't perform well, YouTube will punish you. And I do not want to be suffer the wrath of the algorithm. So my strategy is now like, what if I try really hard to try to make just the videos that perform really well, and like coincidentally perform really well by being really good content that people enjoy, that will click on and watch till the end or as close to the end as possible. So my new strategy with probably my last only like 6 videos, like all the videos I've made this year have been to like really increase the production value and the editing and get straight to the point and add things and explain things more than just simply a screen recording of a tutorial, which is all my other content, which is like great. If you're into that, that's fantastic. You'll sit there and watch it. But it's a pretty like boring thing, like cinematically. It's like, this is just a screen of software and a mouse moving around it with a voiceover. It's not the most thrilling enterprise. So I've tried to change it up a little bit and really like, thumbnails and the title are really the most important thing. Like it's not great to see. I love the thumbnails,
man. I love the thumbnails. I love the approaching titles. You are amazing.
Thank you. Because like really, if people don't click on it, they're not going to see the value that you've provided. And as long as you provide them a lot of value and they don't regret clicking on it, as long as you're not deceitful, like in the title, I think you can get away with anything.
Right,
And it's
right.
not like, I don't particularly want to title videos like these things you don't know about After Effects are, are harming your neighbor's children, or anything like that. I don't make them that sensational, but
Yeah.
like that's what YouTube wants. People want to go, what if I don't click this? My health is at risk. You want to be able to say, hey, this is how to do this thing, how to do X using this software. Like that's what you want to put in there. But that, like,
Love
unfortunately,
that.
like everyone hates clickbait, but everyone clicks on it. So
the clickbait
like
game.
I've resigned to, okay, I'll play the click game a little bit, but
Right.
I'm going to back it up by making the best videos I can possibly make to as long as people are like, Ben got me with the clickbait. But, hey, it's a good video. Can't complain.
Wow. Love that, Ben. And one thing I really, really focused on when you were explaining your, what makes your content successful on YouTube is the word focus. Because you really are focusing on what what you've been crafting and what content to release. That's the reason why it's so successful. I love that you're focused, and it shows that your passion in creating something valuable and in helping people around you, your tribe, it really matters. So you're focused on that, and no wonder why your content really goes beyond, it like we're talking about billion views. So wow, thank you for sharing those secrets. I learn a lot. From from thumbnails, titles, and just being simple. I love that. I'm an advocate of being simple. We don't need to overcomplicate things, in design, in entrepreneurship, in being creative, and in life. You don't need to overcomplicate things. We are created to be simple because simple really makes things better, right? It clears mind. Sometimes we overcomplicate things and then it end up being cluttered, and we lose track. But I love what you said that, okay, I'm gonna be honest, After Effects for me, dude, it's a battle. I remember back in college days, man, After Effects is killing me. When you were explaining like the simple motion, you moving the dots and everything, I was like, in my mind, it's like, it's easy for you to say, you're an expert. I was like, I'm struggling, dude. When I made like a simple left to right movement, it was like the greatest thing I ever accomplished in After Effects. And then I said to myself, damn it, this is not working. I'm gonna hire people that do stuff for me. I can think, I can craft the idea, and then you create it, you animate it. But but I love what you said, that while you're explaining the technicalities of the software of After Effects and doing the craft, just be simple. Just enjoy what you're doing. And I can feel the simplicity, even though I know it's complicated. And that's the power of your content. The mere fact that you're stating, that you're telling your viewers that, hey, I know this is complicated. It's not for everyone, but here I am with my passion to teach. You can do it because it's simple. Just have fun, and we're going to do it. And that, I believe, my friend, your power in the content that you create. That's why you are successful. Plus your charm, man. You're a kind person. You're a humble, creative guy that really makes impact. So thank you, Ben, for sharing those wonderful insights, being such, a humble and simple guy. I love the vibe. Guys, for everyone that is listening in and watching this episode, go onto YouTube, type Ben Marriott. It will pop up, and you will see. Like I think the first 3 million views video will pop up, and you will see what I'm talking about. Don't take my word for it, but really look it up. See, I'm promoting you, Ben. So this is
Thank you very much.
royalty fees.
Yes.
Royalty fees. I'm gonna have a share of equity now.
Yeah, you get an affiliate of every subscriber.
Affiliate marketing. There you go.
Yeah, you get 20% of every subscriber.
20% of everything.
Every subscriber.
Oh, guys, subscribe now for this episode. When this episode goes up, I'm gonna get 20% for every subscriber. And I'm just kidding. Love you, Ben. Love you, Ben. Thank you for sharing your journey your insight, your expertise, and being with us here in the show. All right. But
Thank you very much.
Ben, there's a big but. We are not done yet, bro. We are not done yet. We started with your journey. Then we talk about, techniques, tips in really making a content successful, because you are successful on a YouTube creator. Now we are going to play a game. This is a tradition here in the show, bro, that I'm going to be asking you questions, and you are not allowed to spend much time thinking about what the right answer is. The first word that comes into your mind, shoot. All right.
I'll be lightning fast. You won't believe it. I'll be giving you answers before you even say questions, and they'll be correct.
We call this the creative fast talk. All right. It's a tradition here in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready, Ben?
I'm ready. You let me know if I need to go faster as well. I'll try to amp it up.
All right.
After all that hype, if I'm going to be so fast, I might. Okay. I'm nervous now.
You know why? I'm thinking about the camera. For all the listeners and viewers out there, off cam, we were talking, and Ben was like, dude, if in the middle of the interview, the camera just shuts down, it's this, it's that. And so I was like thinking, okay, the camera's still good. No glitches. We're good. We're good.
We're good. We're good. It'll be dramatic. It's part of the game. I've answered too fast. The camera's overheated.
All right, man. Let's do this. Question number 1, sun or snow?
Snow.
All right.
That was wrong. It's sun. So, okay, I'll take a little more time.
All right. Second, structured or chaotic?
Structured.
If you were an animal, Ben, what animal would you be and why?
I'd be a chihuahua. Why? Because I have a pet chihuahua and he has the best life of any animal on this earth. I can guarantee you that. You feed him, you pick up after him. It's the life.
All hail the chihuahua. All right. All right. That's the first time I heard someone answer that. Well, all good. All right. Ben Marriott in the house, guys. Next, popcorn and movies or dinner and dancing?
Popcorn and movies.
All right. Since you answered that, follow-up question is name your top 3, three movies of all time.
Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic Park. It's tricky. It's tricky for the other ones. I'm probably missing some, but I'm trying to think of a good episode. The life Monty Python, The Life of Brian.
Oh, come on. I'm a Monty Python fan, bro. Love that. Good choice. Next, passenger or driver?
Passenger.
Mountains or the beaches?
Mountains.
Ben, what are you afraid of?
How deep do we want to go? Look, I'm afraid of home invaders. We've got to get to. Like, I'm scared of spiders, but not that scary. They can't really hurt me. Home invasions happen.
Who's not scared of that, bro? I mean, why not?
Yeah, you're scared of.
All right, okay. I'll accept that. What's your favorite color, Ben?
Teal.
Ooh, okay. I just want to ask. It's not in the list.
I can give you the hex code if you want.
Hex code, love that. All right, next. Soap or toothbrush?
Soap. But those aren't really that interchangeable.
Right. All right.
Soap.
Next, Ben, what is always inside your bag when you were a kid? If you can remember.
Sketchbook.
Come on. Nice. Love that. I also have that when I was a kid, the small one. Yeah. Next, what is the weirdest food you've ever tried so far?
I've tried a lot of food. Starfish is pretty weird.
Really? Which country?
Yeah.
Which country?
China.
Ah, man.
Went to China. I went on a tour of the zoology of the but starfish, like scorpion was great. Starfish was great. It's not starfish, seahorse. Starfish,
right?
Starfish, not so good.
Is it deep fried or is it stew or what?
The other ones were deep fried. So it's seahorse and scorpion just taste like a crispy bit of batter. But the starfish, because like a decent. When you think of starfish, it's that size of starfish. You imagine, maybe 10 centimeters across. But it was its insides, so it was just like the texture. Imagine what the texture of a starfish is like. Like that's not a fishy. Was that not fleshy? It was like couscous in like a texture and what's it like a fish broth kind of taste, and it just wasn't as that nice. But that's probably one of the weirdest.
Wow, love that, love that. All right.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking. I never thought of like someone who would cook starfish. I mean, it's so. You see it in cartoons, right? It's starfish is a friendly freaking.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't one I was planning. I knew people like, hey, it's in the ocean. You're hungry. You eat starfish, and then it's only because I'm from like that.
Was it spicy? Was it spicy?
No, it wasn't that spicy.
No, right, but you wouldn't, eat it again. I
tried different. It might have been that shop that ventured a bad one. Right. Who knows? I only tried one, so I don't want to.
Okay, there you go. Very adventurous, eh? Nice.
But if you put it in a stew, you wouldn't.
All right, this last question can be, something serious depending on how you will take the question. All right. Okay. If you have the power to bring back someone back from the dead, who would it be and why? Anybody. Anybody in the world.
To be honest, it would be a musician that died early. Okay. My initial thought was John Lennon, but I think he had enough time. I'm thinking younger. Let's go I don't know, Biggie Smalls, even Mac Miller, someone that really had a ton of potential that had no time slowing down. I think if we had 40 more years of music of them, what an impact that would have had on the world. And I think impact a lot of people personally, a lot of people like John Lennon. Yeah. He made a couple more albums in his 50s and 60s. They would have, and some political thing that probably would have helped the world. Yeah. That would have been, I'm not trying to put it back, but I'm trying to say but someone really young that I don't know, because as individuals, you listen to certain music and you think it just really impacts you on an individual level. And for that, millions of people to
I love that. Love that. Well, thank you so much, Ben. I mean, first giving us an insight what you do as a brand, who you are, giving us tips, giving us your perspective, being simple, having focus, and doing what you love, and just being crazy and sharing that your experience eating starfish is a weird thing, but you are not done yet. If given, you will try it again. So I love that.
Maybe I'm old. Let's just say I'm vegan now as well, if anyone has any objections to eating stuff. But if I get turned back, we'll see.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Ben. I know you have, we've talked about your channel, YouTube channel. You have your website, any projects, any online releases, social media. Please do promote. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've got a beginner's animation course coming out soon, which I'm working on at the moment. If you see big piles of paper, I have the big outline waiting to get turned into a script. That is coming out hopefully in August is what I'm hoping for. So probably September is when that will be released. So that's to teach you After Effects. So if you haven't even touched After Effects before in your life, you can start there. Or if you're in your first couple of years and want to get it's called Motion Foundation, there'll be a solid foundation that'll be the understanding of the core concepts that you can branch out to learn anything from there. And so an advanced animation course currently on my website and YouTube videos, and that's all I do. Like you said, simple. I'm trying to simplify it. It's educational animation content. You'll find me on YouTube and my website for more.
They can also connect with you on Instagram, right?
Yeah, connect with me. Follow me on Instagram. Send me a message. I will probably get around to it eventually. Maybe not right away, but I'll be there.
There you go, guys. Please do connect with Ben Marriott. I'm sure he can help you in your journey towards success. So again, Ben, thank you so much for spending the time to be with us here in the show. I learn a lot. I'm sure our viewers and learners and listeners out there learn a lot because you are an amazing human being. Ben, thank you again so much. And always remember, have a positive outlook in life. Smile. God bless. Bye.